So here we are, on the cusp of game number 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I know I said that yesterday. I had a little bit of a brain malfunction. I was like, yeah, no, it's a 2-day break, right? So game 4 is going to be on Wednesday. And I made the entire show yesterday saying, yeah, we're going to see Edmonton, Florida. And then it didn't happen. It's happening today. So yeah, I guess we're going to have to pay attention to hockey tonight rather than yesterday night. Anyways, this video doesn't really relate to the Oilers, honestly. It's just kind of an extra thing I wanted to toss in there. I wanted to talk about some more Vancouver Canucks stuff, because as we had said, on the eve of Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals, we are starting to get so much more Vancouver Canucks-related content in regards to players that the team wants, players that the team could be sending away, and the whole 9 yards. Every morning, we are getting new shows, new articles, new radio programs, new podcast episodes. All of these NHL insiders and analysts are talking about Vancouver. And in this video, I wanted to dive into just a few of those. Not all of them. There are still some extra things we can talk about, and that is kind of how ridiculous this trade season has started out here in the middle of June. But I wanted to head over to our big old friend Canucks News Summaries Twitter account, because they went out there and summarized a few hits that I wanted to dive into. First, we had ourselves Sennecke and Price from 2 days ago, June 10th. Darren Dreger made an appearance on the show talking about the Canucks, of course. I mean, it's Sennecke and Price, Vancouver-based podcast there. S&P going out there and diving into the Canucks scoop. And then I also wanted to talk about Canucks News Summaries summary on yesterday's Donnie and Dolly segment, talking about the Vancouver Canucks and some of the pending UFAs that they have. Both of these videos will be linked in the description. But Canucks News Summaries had the summary, so with that in mind, let's dive into what it is that Darren Dreger says about Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks. He said that he isn't hearing a lot about Pettersson right now. However, teams that had previous interest would start to circle back around this time. Dreger says that Canucks management were calling around the league and visiting conversations, visiting ideas. Before the Colorado Avalanche extended Brock Nelson, they were interested in Elias Pettersson. Dreger also says that these conversations are not unusual at this time of the year. Now, if that sounds familiar to you, yeah, it probably should be, because we did make these same points known in yesterday's Elias Pettersson trade video. That was a pretty interesting ordeal to dive into, and it essentially gave Dreger's overall thought process on the way the Pettersson situation has gone. It seems a lot likelier now that teams are going to start circling back, but at the same time, there also was a report from Pierre LeBrun earlier yesterday that says that it looks more so like Pettersson is just going to be a Canuck instead of getting traded straight up. So, lots of intriguing, conflicting reports from various NHL insiders. That's not all too new, to be honest. I mean, we usually see different guys say different things, and one thing that one guy says will usually be completely contradictory to another thing another guy says. It's all speculation at the end of the day. But continuing on with Darren Dreger's hit here on the Sennecke and Price show, there is a conversation on Thatcher Demko. Take a look at this. It's quiet around Demko, but that doesn't mean his agent isn't talking to the Canucks. Dreger says that over the past few days at the Combine, a lot of folks were going out there and quote-unquote tampering. It was a tamper fest. Lots of people going out there trying to do some negotiating and some talking done with the agents and other GMs. Demko is noted as being a workhorse, especially off the ice, and the Canucks and Demko are having amicable conversations. So that doesn't really give us too much, but it does say enough where it's like, okay, amicable conversations, that's good, right? Thatcher Demko, of course, his contract expires at the end of next season at $5 million a year. And with Kevin Lankinen getting that long-ish term extension and Artur Shilov's doing well in the AHL, you can debate whether or not there actually is room for a guy like Thatcher Demko to be a Vancouver Canuck long-term. But for right now, the former Vezina finalist is indeed in amicable talks with this Canucks squad. that is a lot more preferred than not. Let's dive into one of the other names that Dreger links to the Vancouver Canucks in this same summary on Sekeres and Price. It's Buffalo Sabres D-man Bowen Byram. Dreger says here he doesn't know if the Canucks are a suitor for him, but he wouldn't be surprised if the Canucks were. Byram changed his agent not that long ago, and his new agent always has something going on and is noted for taking his players to free agency. Bowen Byram has top-notch trade value, and it feels like he is going to be traded, but he doesn't have a hard list of teams. He has also heard, Dreger said, that the Buffalo Sabres want a right-shot D-man back for Byram. And I'm thinking about it like, okay, right-shot D-man, eh? I'm not going to go out there and suggest Filip Hronek for Byram. Hell nah. Tom Willander, maybe? I don't know. But ultimately, the Canucks do have enough defensemen and a good enough D-core already on the team that I think you don't necessarily need a Bowen Byram, but if you were to add him without taking any big hits to the rest of the forward core, you're probably in a pretty good spot, right? Byram, I think, is a very talented player. I still think he can be a number one defenseman at the NHL level, although I know some Buffalo Sabres fans may disagree with that sentiment. There's a lot to like out of Byram. It's just he is in a pretty interesting spot here with his contract looming and his agency changing. It's not going to be the easiest thing to get this to go through, but if the Cranbrook, BC native does have some sort of inkling to play with his hometown team, then obviously that would be very welcomed. Just not for a very big price. Okay, it's probably going to be for a big price. Let's just face it here. Now, finishing things off on Darren Dreger, after talking about the conversations on Pettersson, Demko, and Bowen Byram, I also wanted to head over onto what Rick Dhaliwal said yesterday on Donnie and Dolly about Pius Suter and Brock Boeser. Take a look at this on Suter. The Canucks want to keep him, but his ask is too high. The two sides have talked. However, there has been no offer from the Vancouver Canucks yet. Suter will get $4 million plus as a free agent, and the Canucks are willing to only offer him $3 million plus. Boeser and Suter, their rights, they won't be traded until the draft, if it does happen at all. So, Dolly going out there with the scoop here. The Canucks and Suter are too far apart. That guy is interested in a $4-something million AAV contract. The Canucks are only willing to give him 3-ish. Boeser, also, he's in a territory where you could say he's way too expensive compared to what the Canucks want to pay for him. If there is a trade to happen, then okay, we can see the Canucks maybe trade away the rights to a Suter or a Boeser to some other team that really wants them and wants to negotiate with them first. It's not new information, but it's always looked like these guys were going to leave, so I don't really think this comes as a surprise to anybody. Now we are talking about the idea of the Canucks trading away the rights to a Suter or a Boeser in order to just kind of allow their hockey team to breathe and get some extra assets in return. That would be ideal, but of course, if Brock just decides to take his sweet behind over to free agency and try to get 8-point-something million, all it takes is one team to bite. One team to give him 8.2, one team to give him 8.5, and then he's happy. But if he doesn't get that at all, then okay, I guess we'll pay attention on if the Vancouver Canucks circle back on the Brock Boeser conversation and want to sign this guy for a little bit more of a discount. We'll wait and see, I guess. So with all that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Brock Boeser, Pius Suter, Pettersson, Demko, and Bowen Byram updates. What are your thoughts on all these guys over here? What are your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks and their plans? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.